Kirby and the Rainbow Curse completely freaking sucks, man! This game on the Wii U is an absolutely pathetic tripe of a Kirby game. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another garbage Kirby crappy pink puffball game. This idiotic character created like 90 or something like that, 1991, 92, 20-something odd years ago. Alright, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. This is the latest entry into the Kirby franchise, developed by HAL Laboratory, of course. HAL Laboratory. I can't even believe these hacks are still around making Kirby games. It's almost like Nintendo has HAL Laboratory in the payroll. They keep paying them all this money to make these crappy games. Because guess what? This game, on Metacritic, has a freaking low score. It has the lowest score right now. I'm just taking a look at it. Right now it's in the 70s. It's like 75 Metascore right now, currently. The game is the most pathetic, poorly received Wii U title I've seen in a really long time. Like, this year is not looking too good on the Wii U. The Wii U has, if this is a precursor to what the Wii U is going to get in 2015, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is a pile of absolute pink feces. Now, this is the latest game, okay? It supports the Amiibo figures of Kirby, the Meta Knight and the King Dedede, so it's got that gimmick. Basically, it's a follow-up to the DS game. So the Nintendo DS had a game way back in 2005 called Kirby Canvas Curse. So this is the Rainbow Curse. You know, they're trying to, again, use the gimmick. It's a platforming game, and obviously they're trying to... the gameplay is your typical crappy side-scrolling type of platformer. We've seen a million times from Nintendo. We've seen it 5,000 times on the freaking, Nintendo systems, on the Wii U. The style of gameplay is basically the same as Canvas Curse, It's basically trying to present the game with a unique clay look, a modeling clay style design. It's really not that unique because we've seen the clay style with how many freaking games in the past? We've seen it with, I believe like Yoshi had a game like that. One of those titles back in the day. There's been games that had that clay style. I think Clay Fighter, that's the one that I'm thinking of, is Clay Fighter. Clay Fighter had the clay style, obviously, the clay aesthetic. So anybody that's wondering what is Clay Fighter, basically a fighting game from the freaking 90s on the Super Nintendo and arcades. Was it arcades? Super Nintendo, something like that, and the N64. I don't think it was on the arcades. It might have been on... It was definitely in the console. I remember playing it on the N64, that stupid Clay Fighter game. But anyway, yeah, so this isn't unique. The clay look has been overused since the freaking 90s, so it's nothing special. You got the crappy gamepad, the Wii U gamepad, trying to use it. He's stuck in a ball form, basically. He's moving across the level. You gotta draw these rainbow-colored lines on the touchscreen to basically guide the stupid Kirby character. So it's like, okay, typical, Canvas Curse gimmick all over again. Kirby has to go through the loops, basically speeding him up, and so it's basically a ripoff of frickin' Sonic, making him like fast and speedy. So your typical Sonic ripoff here, typical Nintendo, always stealing ideas, jacking ideas from Sega, from Sonic, and they have no ideas of their own. That's why they gotta rip it off and use it with frickin' Kirby. Touching him will put him into a spinning attack to use against enemies. He can collect 100 stars. He can perform a star dash and all that crap. Trying to rip off Kirby's Epic Yarn, for example. He can gain various forms throughout the game. He could become a submarine, a rocket, a tank. So we've seen that with other Nintendo games too. Again, going back to Yoshi, with frickin' Yoshi's Island. Yoshi in Yoshi's Island can transform into freaking vehicles. Like a helicopter and a freaking an underground tunnel digging thing, you know? It's like we've seen these transformations before. It's really pathetic. I don't know, the storyline isn't that special, you know, take a look at the plot. Again, typical Dreamland type stuff. You got Kirby and Waddle Dee, they're playing together, and then a mysterious hole opened in the sky, and then it drains all the color from Dreamland, and then it stops everything in its tracks. Everything is kind of halted. Eileen, a paintbrush fairy from the land of Seventopia, goes through the portal in order to escape an evil force, and uses her powers to bring color back to Kirby and Waddle Dee. Why does that sound like freaking Epic Mickey Mouse? You know, remember that Epic Mickey? The game on the Wii? I think it's called Mickey Mouse and the Epic, whatever the hell it was. Epic Mickey or whatever the hell it was. Yeah, it's something like that, you know, trying to bring back colors and crap like that, and painting, and it's all just a big rip-off of older games, you know, where you have to paint, and you have to use, you know, claymation and animation, and it's all, you know, the presentation. It's very similar to previous games. So, it's pretty bad. Right now, again, once again, Metacritic 75 out of 100. Really pathetic. Game ranking 76%, so really nothing special. Famitsu gave it a 34 out of 40, which is, that might as well be an F. Giant Bomb gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. A 2 out of 5 stars. Absolutely embarrassing. Kirby's done. It's a very outdated platforming game. You know, it's like, it's very kiddified. He's a pink, rolling, shapeless mass of blob. So it's not really appealing to hardcore gamers, you know. It's not gritty. It's not mature. It's just a stupid, like, he's like a toy. Kirby's a freaking toy that you roll around. But he looks like, you know, just a piece of pink poop. So we're going to take a look at the Metascores. Giant Bomb gave it again, they gave it a 40 out of 100. Which is, again, not a high score. That's a couple of stars, I think. Yeah, 2 stars out of 5. But this is what they said. This is what Giant Bomb said. Nothing about the gameplay feels broken. It just feels soulless this time around. It feels soulless this time around. It's an empty game. It's a freaking empty, pathetic cash-in. You know, because that's what Nintendo does. That's what they're good at doing. The only thing they can do is rehash and make sequels and prequels, and if they're not doing that, they're rehashing the same games over and over again that came out 5,000 years ago. So it is soulless. It doesn't feel like it has any depth to it. It doesn't have any identity. It's just a cheap frickin' Wii U version of a DS game that came out 10 years ago. GameSpot gave it a 50 out of 100. Yeah, that's a pathetic score. I mean, GameSpot is usually very fair, and you know, they're not really. They have very fair scores, and they're very good at scoring. But a 50 from GameSpot, that's an F. That is a freaking fail. A tiring game. It's taxing without being rewarding, like doing a mile on a stationary bike and discovering that you only burned away calories from one bite of your lunch burrito. Well, I do use the stationary. I do like to stay fit, unlike these pathetic Nintendiots that are always, you know, these fat Nintendiot kids that clearly have no idea what exercise means. They only play, you know, stupid stinky games like Kirby. Anyway, GameSpot continues. The game gets frustrating quickly due to repetitive obstacles, and there's not much incentive to dig into a game that won't give you that agency. Yeah, it's really frustrating. It's very repetitive because it's typical Nintendo garbage. It's not rewarding because this game is for kids. This game is for stinking kids. Stinking kids. Pathetic little children. And once again, the problem with Nintendo is that they're too focused on kiddified games. They don't have mature-rated games. They don't have hardcore games. That's their main issue. One more from Nintendo, even Nintendo Life. The reviewers called Nintendo Life gave it a 70. A 70 out of 100 might as well be an F minus. An F minus. Charming the game may be, Rainbow Curse is a few strokes from greatness. It is overly repetitive mechanics, underused ideas, and a failure to integrate its clay theme into gameplay in any meaningful way, keeping it from reaching the lofty heights to which it potentially could be. It is well crafted, but it's not a masterpiece. So they're trying to play politics here. Nintendo Life obviously trying to suck up to Nintendo because it's Nintendo Life, but if you read between the lines of this particular feedback, they're basically saying this game pretty much sucks, and it's an overly repetitive piece of crap. It's got no meaning, and it's basically a disappointing pile of puke. It's pink puke, basically. So that's pretty much it. I mean, this has been another episode of the TruGheymer Reviews. The TruGheymer has finished with his pathetic Kirby crap. I am just about done with this Kirby garbage. The Rainbow Curse, yeah, it definitely is a curse because this game feels and plays like a pathetic curse. It is just a cheap ripoff of games like Little Big Planet, and games like even something like Yoshi's Story and Clay Fighter, and all those classic platforming games of the past. If you want better games like that, go check out those games instead. You know, something like Tomba. Freaking Tomba. Remember Tomba from back in the day, the PS1? The TruGheymer Reviews is brought to you by The Review Space. For more videos, check out youtube.com/TheReviewSpace. Thanks for watching. Until next time.